Okay, so I wanted to talk about the real slash true runner ups for the drag race seasons where we stopped having two finalists. Because since season four, we've had top threes and then top fours, and even recently with season 14, a top five. So we stopped having the traditional clear runner up because now we always say that there have been two or three from these past seasons. But I wanted to talk about who was the true runner up. Like even like if they went back to true to regular to the old form where they had a final three and then they dropped to down to the top two for the end. I want to kind of see who would that have been for each of the seasons where we started having three and more. So starting with season four, the winner for season four was Sharon. And I do rightfully think that Sharon was like a really great winner at the time. But between Chad and Fifi, I definitely think that it was Chad who was like a true like runner up. Now, also when I say runner up, I mean this is someone who could have also pretty easily have taken the crown. Like I think Rue would have had a hard time, at the time choosing between these two people, whereas the third or fourth person, you could kind of easily be like, no, you're not really in my mind right now, so I'm really doing between these two. So anyway, so Chad for season four was like the true like second place. I think between Chad and Fifi, Chad had a much better track record. Chad, I also felt was more likable because as we'll see, there are some winners that have a better track record than the person they beat. But then you get into that heart, that charm, that connection. Because I think that when the audience is not making like a connection with these finalists, it makes it hard to pick them because you're not going to get much coverage. No one's going to talk about it because it's like, I mean, whatever. Wasn't rooting for you anyway. I didn't really like you or connect with you. So, and we'll see that a couple times where someone who probably would have won if their heart and charm was a lot better, they probably would have won. But I think between like Chad and Fifi, Fifi to me just had the attitude. Like there was no way she was going to win. No way. No way she was going to win with the most legendary villain edit. Season 5, we had the runner-ups as Roxy and Alaska. Now, I think the true runner-up was Roxy because I honestly think Roxy would have won if her attitude did not go so sour. She, to me, was really polished, but she also knew how to have fun to an extent. We saw how kind of uptight she could be when it came to her comedy towards the end. It almost seemed like because she wasn't beating out people like Jinx so easily, she just was, it was kind of making her really uptight with her comedy and being funny. So, but to me, as much as we love Alaska, I don't think Alaska was fully baked when season 5 was going on. There is a lot of growing that she needed to do. Lovable, super lovable, but she just wasn't there. When she came back for All Stars 2, yeah, she was there. But Roxy to me is one of those queens who had she didn't have a better track record than Jinx. Jinx had the better track record. However, as great as Jinx was, there was always some buts with her, and it mostly was for her runway. I think Roxy was only clocked on her runway like maybe one or two times, whereas Jinx, it was pretty much every runway she was clocked on. But yeah, you just can't. To me, it's really clear that it was Roxy who could have easily have won if her attitude was better. Season 6, we have Adore and Courtney. And almost kind of a bit similar to season 4. Not that Courtney had a villain edit, she just had a edit that made her a little cold. Like, her edit showed her being just not a fun person, someone who just didn't seem very charming and lovable. It almost felt like if you went in for a hug, she would either try to give you a handshake or move away. Like, she was not going to embrace that hug. That was the energy that we got from her. And the fact that Adore and Bianca, it was such a toss-up that they actually filmed a double crowning of them, clearly shows. And I think with Adore, she wasn't polished. She was a bit messy, but she just has such a sweet charm. It's almost like if she had a bit more polish to her, I think she could have won. But to me, Adore was she was second place. Season 7. Now, this is another one where Ginger, who I believe is the clear second place one here, the true runner-up, really should have won. Okay? She would have been a great person to truly be the first plus-size queen. Because at this point, we had some decent plus-size queens. We had kind of gotten this itch for an actual plus-size girl to win. So, and I really feel like it could have been Ginger. But just like Roxy, her attitude really got negative and a bit nasty. I could tell, like for me, I could tell that her hunger to win was just itching for her. She was itching for it. And she was trying to get fussy about it. And I think because, when she was stumbling, she would be upset. And then she would get on Violet and Fame and Pearl. I think she was seeing them getting to the race just as she was. This season 7 season 7 almost had the same divide as season 3 did, like the Heathers and Boogers. Kind of like your more like look girls versus the more performing girls, like with comedy and just having a little bit more charm. And season 7, you had the fashion new girls versus the pageant old school drag. And the old school drag was not open to the new drag. But it's funny because the new drag didn't get down on the old drag. I don't think they cared. They didn't care about them as much as the old drag cared about them. But the fact that you had 2 of those queens from the new group coming up just as much as queens from the old fashion coming up, I think it was kind of bothering Ginger. Almost a sense like, you know what, I tolerated y'all in the beginning because I didn't see y'all really staying, but there's a lot of you still here. Like, why are y'all still here? And it's kind of bothering me. So Ginger, she had the best track record. She definitely could have won and really kind of should have won. But yet again, she had a nasty attitude towards the end. And like Pearl really should not have gone as far as she did. Really, Kennedy should have taken her place. But same thing with Kennedy. Her really nasty attitude really hindered her. Now, her attitude was worse than Ginger's, which is why she got cut when she did and didn't get to go on to the finale. So Ginger, to me, was a true runner-up for season 7. Season 8, I would say it was Kim Chi. Between Kim Chi and Naomi Smalls, I think Naomi was kind of like an Alaska. Like, she was good. She was improving midway through. She was picking up steam. But she just, to me, felt to still be needed to be more developed. I don't think Naomi truly knew the direction she wanted to go in with her drag the same way that you see her now. And Kim Chi would have been a great alternative. But I think the producers could see that Kim Chi probably wouldn't have put as much energy into really making a name for herself within the drag race world. Kimchi has stepped back a bit. You don't really hear much of Kimchi when it comes to Drag Race. You hear more about her just as a drag queen, but there's not that connection to Drag Race anymore. Even when she came back for the Christmas special a few years ago, it was kind of like she came and she went. You really haven't heard much from her or about her since, other than that she's got a really successful beauty line. So, but Kimchi, to me, she did really well in the competition. She was super lovable, super charming, super sweet. So there's that. Now, getting into seasons 9 and upward, this is where we start having one, a final four, and two, the lip sync for the crown. And the lip sync for the crown gave us a final two. But I don't think that dictates if you are a true finalist or a true runner up, because I'm looking at you throughout the whole competition, not that you were able to be a killer lip sync. Like, to me, of the final four, Peppermint was fourth place. She was not second. She's a great lip syncer, but the way that she was in the competition, she was not a winner. She was a runner up. I would love to see, not a runner up, she was a fourth place. I would love to see how she would do now, but I don't know, because Peppermint was very up and down. She picked up steam towards the latter half, but even still, it wasn't all there. So I hope that if she ever comes back for All Star, she'll show us, but we'll see. But to me, she was more of a fourth place. Now, if we take out, like what we're going to do right now, from now on, is we're taking out Lip Sync for Your Crown, and we just have our final four, okay? So I think, like, if we take out the Lip Sync SmackDown, I do think that Shay would have won season 9. But I think a runner-up to her was Sasha. I think Sasha was a clear runner-up. I think while Trinity was good, she was lacking that charm that you could feel like you could just love her a whole lot. Sasha had it. Shay had it at the time. So if we took out the SmackDown, I think Shay would have won. And then I think it would have been Sasha as like a clear runner-up to her. Season 10, we had Asia, Eureka, Cameron, and what is her name? Aquaria. I think that Cameron was a clear fourth. I think Eureka would have been a third. And I honestly think that this would have been Asia's to win. We all know what happened when she lip synced. But I could see it going either way. I could see it being Asia to win. But I could also see it being Aquaria. I think next to Asia, I think Aquaria would have been more the runner-up. I think we enjoyed Asia more than Aquaria, but because of the lip sync, Rue had no choice. He had no choice but to eliminate poor Asia then. Because it's like, well, I guess it's going to be Aquaria. I mean, Cameron was nowhere in the running. Eureka was so not liked by the fans, but she did kill it in her lip sync, but they couldn't have her win. So, yeah, but I honestly think it would have been Asia as the winner, and Aquaria would have been a runner-up. Season 11, this is kind of the only... This and season 14 are the only ones that have the lip sync format that came to an actual final two that I actually agree. I definitely saw, to me, from season 11, I think, what is her name? Shoot, I cannot remember her name. Who was going up against Evie for that crown, for the lip sync. I'm looking it up. But Silky to me was more of a third place. And Brooklyn to me was definitely a runner up. And Evie was a good winner. Akira. Yeah, I saw Akira as more as like a fourth place. I didn't really see her having any shot of winning. I think Silky did slightly better and was much more memorable than Akira was. And then Brooklyn was a clear runner-up. Evie was a clear winner. So I think the way that played out in the actual real world was what it was. Season 12, we had a top 3 because the actual top 4 person, Sherry Pie, was disqualified. And it's really clear to me that Sherry would have been the winner, but they took her out. Now, this is another one where it really felt like the person who maybe should have won didn't win, but because of their attitude, you just couldn't root for their win. So the winner was Jada. The runner-ups were Gigi and Crystal Method. And I think that, now look, I never was really rooting for Gigi to win. The things that we learned about her, like, I love the fact that growing up, she was allowed to be who she wanted to be. And it really showed in the way that she did drag and thought of herself. But she was so icy. She was kind of like Courtney Act. Like, she was fine. She could be funny. She could be charming. But for the most part, if you went for a hug, you don't feel like you would get one back. Or at least it wouldn't be like a loving, welcoming hug. So but at the end of the day, I think Gigi would have been the runner-up for season 12. I'll be honest, like, I was really rooting for Crystal to win, but I wasn't mad that Jada won. I just really liked the drag and the personality of Crystal. So to me, Gigi was the clear runner-up for that season. Season 13, Simone was the clear winner. Simone is one of the rare people on Drag Race who I personally pegged as winning almost episode 1 or 2. I was like, this is going to be the winner. And you can't change my mind. And it happened. But runner-up, I think, was more so Rosé. Third place would have been Gottmik. And fourth place would have been Candy. So similarly to season 10, I think, I don't think Candy deserved second place, especially since liking her was really hard to do because of how kind of abrasive she could be with the way that she talked to people. But we'll see if she changed our perspective when she comes back for All Stars. But I thought that Rosé was definitely more of the runner-up for season 13. And season 14, we had 5 finalists. Woo. Willow to me was the clear winner. Camden was a clear runner-up. But if I had to place the last 3, I would say Bosco was 5th, Akira was 4th, and Daya was 3rd. Bosco to me, she was a cool girl. But she never showed me winner qualities. Like, she showed me getting to the top. But she never, like, I don't know. I just felt like she was being favored a bit by production. And whenever I feel that favoritism, like for Gigi, I stop liking the queen. Because I'm like, what are you doing? But, Akira to me could have... I really thought Angeria... I thought Angeria could have been a clear runner-up, but she just lost steam. She really did. She fizzled out towards the end. So to me, she was more of a 4th place. And then Daya's attitude, she was one of those queens that you just had a hard time really liking her. But she did 3rd place worthy. 3rd place worthy. So we're still in season 15, and we're not even on a top 4 or even close to a top 4 yet, so I can't go into that one. But I want to go into All-Stars a bit. So All-Stars 1, we had our final 2, Raven and Chad. But All Stars 2, we went from a final four to a top three for like the lip syncing for the crown. So I thought that was interesting. But I think that, you can't deny how Alaska did in All Stars 2. I didn't like the attitude, and I hated that she eliminated Alyssa the second time. Was it the second time? No. It was Tatiana that she eliminated. But I think she was a clear winner. But a second place, I think it was Katya. And third, Detox. And then fourth, well, Roxy should never have been there for fourth, but there she was. I think when it comes to like heart, I just felt like there's more of a loving connection with Katya over Detox. I really wanted Katya to win as well, but I didn't see her winning. But she was second place in my eyes. Season 3, taking out the jury, clearly that was Shangela's win. But second place, I would have put Kennedy. Third, Trixie. Fourth, BB. I think BB's almost like almost prudish type attitude was like, you just didn't really care for her. She was cool in what she was doing, but I was like, I don't really care. And then Trixie, I look, to this day, I still don't get the hype over Trixie. I was never a fan of her when she came back in season 7, and wasn't a fan of her when she came back for All Stars 3. And still, like, she's not a queen that I always root for, but whatever. Season 4, now I know we've got our little twin controversy. I'm going to say something controversial too. Okay? Because of what happened, All Stars 3, they could not pick another white queen, another blonde white queen, because let's be honest, Trixie does a lot of blonde hair. They couldn't do it. I personally thought that it was, of course, next to Manila, but I thought that this was Trinity's win. This was her season. But because of the fact that we didn't have any people of color win All Stars, we were very robbed from having a black queen win for All Stars 3. But there was so much like negative views over the whole who should have won, because if Dayla had won All Stars 3, I don't think we would have cared about there being a fourth white queen, because it felt right. She did so well. But then when she took herself out, then it was okay, well, this is Shangela's, a black girl. Shangela got taken out. So and then people weren't really all that thrilled or feeling Trixie so well. So it just really felt like, really, another white girl? Come on now. Because I don't think Monet won. I do not think Monet won, and I do not think she deserved to win. But I think they only picked her because they basically needed to show that, no, we can pick black girls too. So we have a double crowning. But Monet was definitely a runner-up, like second place. I would put Monique at third and Naomi at fourth. All Stars 5, we have a final 3. And I don't think Shay should have won. I really do think it should have been Jujubee. I thought that Jujubee did such an amazing job. She has shown so much growth, and not only her ability to do well in a lot of challenges, but her fashion improved. She finally won a challenge. She should have won more than one. I definitely think that Shay had a lot of favoritism towards her. She should not have won some of the challenges that she won. She really played into that whole sympathy card because of her loss to Sasha and the rose petals. She milked it, and it worked. Like, I don't really care for... I love Shay on season 9. Didn't really love her on All Stars 5. So I really saw it as Jujubee being the winner, Shay being a runner-up, second place, and then Cracker being third. All Star 6, I definitely thought that should have been Raja's win. She showed more growth than what Kylie did. I love Kylie, and I am really glad that she won, but it almost felt like because she was trans, it kind of nudged her up just a little bit in favoritism for the win. But I thought it was Rogers' win hands down, but Kylie was a clear second. I guess you would say Ginger was third. Ginger to me has always been the same old, same old. I just never really cared for her being there. She had a win in areas that should have gone to someone else. She was safe a lot. I felt like there was some favoritism toward Ginger. And then Eureka was more of a fourth place because she just never really was able to shine. Season 7, I mean, I'm not going to do the winners because it's kind of weird to do so. But that's who I think were the clear, like, runner-up, second place to all the seasons that did not give us a final 2. And, of course, taking out the lip sync for your crown and, working with our top 3 or 4 or even 5 they were given. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you think otherwise. And like, comment, and subscribe.